Welcome to Climbing Together, the small business experience. I'm Beth Houtrow, founder of Climb the Small Business Book Club, and every episode I talk to a small business owner about a mistake that they've made and what they learned from the experience. Mistakes are inevitable, perfection's impossible, so let's embrace the mistake. And today we're so excited to welcome Sally Meyers to the podcast. Sally, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I am a women's weight loss coach, and I help women who feel a little stuck in their journey or a little confused about where to go next. And we talk about how to do this in a more self-loving way and not beat ourselves up so badly during the process.
Awesome. And do you do this with people all over the country? Do you do it locally? Where are your clients mostly?
Sure. Yeah, I do it all over the country, all the United States so far. But I've got people from California to North Carolina. So
nice. So really coast to coast. Nice.
Yeah. Yes.
Very cool. Well, we'll have all your info in the show notes, but let's dig into our conversation here about mistakes. So tell me about a mistake that you made as you were growing and launching your business.
Yeah. So, in entrepreneurship, you kind of go through ebbs and flows, right? And you learn that that's normal. But at first, when I would have kind of one of those ebbs in my business, I feel like I would always panic hire someone to help me do something. And often I found that if I would have just stopped overthinking it and slowed down and learned to trust myself and stop panicking, I would have already known some of the things that I'm hiring people to tell me. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't hire coaches. Of course, coaches are helpful. But I think when you're panic hiring them, 99% of the time, you need to take a minute and just breathe.
Yeah, that makes total sense. You want to strategically hire, not panic hire for the things you need help with. And I think, as a coach, and you're a coach, we obviously don't want to just disparage the importance of coaches, but it is important to assess, right? What's the right kind of coach for you?
Right.
What's the level of sophistication? And sometimes you need help, at least I do, executing something.
Yes.
I know what needs to be done. I just don't have the time or maybe that special sauce, in marketing in particular, to get it done. So it's more about hiring someone to execute than it is to help with the strategy. So yeah, it all just needs to be strategic. Love it.
Yes.
And so coming from that, I mean, I don't want to be redundant, but what's the advice you would give somebody as they're thinking about, how to not do that?
Yeah, I think it's funny. I was just on another interview earlier today, and we were talking about the 24-hour rule, where if you're mad at someone, you should wait 24 hours before you say anything. So I think maybe the same thing, if you see someone who's really speaking to what you're nervous about or what you feel like you don't know, maybe take 24 hours, do a little research, and just breathe and think, do I need help with this right now? Or do I just need to stop overthinking and trust my instincts here? And like you said, I would never say don't hire a coach, but I think we get in that space of I need more information. Do I really need more information, or do I need to just trust what I already know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and is the cost of that more information, right? Sometimes that's something to assess too, right? Is we're in business, right? Is there going to be return on this investment that's commensurate with the money that we've spent to make it happen?
Right.
And so, yeah, all those things super important to think about. Okay, well, great. So the podcast here is brought to us by Climb the Small Business Book Club. And our two tenets are continual learning and community. And I know you have a book that really kind of helped you and your mindset. And I, it's a great name book. I love it. So tell us about that book.
Yeah. I think the first personal development book that I read that really resonated with me was You Are a Badass. I had read other ones that were very masculine and hustle and grind in their approach. And when I read You Are a Badass, it just helped me realize that kind of what we were talking about, that I can relax and settle into the fact that I have wisdom and I have things to offer and I can do this. And not so much you got to be hustling and grinding 24/7 kind of approach to things. So she's a little bit woo and she's a little bit She's very much encouraging and just makes you kind of self-reflect. And I think that was the big key for me.
Yeah, I got to be honest. It's so many of the self-support books, those kind of like life help or those kind of things, they're written by like white guys from the 80s or something. And
Yes.
it's just like, I do not connect to this at all.
Right.
This is not for me. And I recently, because I do a book club, I get sent books by publishers to see if I'll review them. And I always say, I'll take a look and I'll read a few couple chapters. And I was sent this book. This is a minute ago, but by a publisher who had sent me a book that I loved. And she's like, I don't know if this is right for you. This guy said the F word at least once a paragraph, if not more. And it was the broiest, douchiest thing I had ever read.
Yes.
Just like, I was like maybe 15 pages in and I was like, this is not for me. Thanks.
Right.
I mean,
right. The F word should be used as an exclamation point, not as a comma. Right.
Exactly. I was like, did you go through this and check if every paragraph had the F word in it? Yeah. And I'm fine with swearing, but there's moments for it. Not every paragraph.
Aggressive. And I agree. Some of those like bro books are just like, this would be helpful if you're trying to get through your first 30 push-ups or, whatever. But like, you can't, it's unsustainable to be hustling and grinding 24 hours a day. I'm sorry. I don't buy into that philosophy.
Well, and it's certainly I do think that there's maybe an age when that really speaks to you, right? Mm-hmm. Being in my 40s, I joke with one of my classes. I teach a business planning class and we go over Google's core values. And one of their core values is great just isn't good enough. And I'm like, I like this core value because what it says to me is I don't need to work for Google.
Right.
I think great is pretty good.
Right.
I might have been excited by that when I was 25, but now at 44, I'm okay with great. Great's pretty good. And I have a life to live and I don't want to spend every moment of every day. Yeah. Obsessing about my job. So yes. Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, cool. I have to be totally upfront. I've only read some of the book. You're a Badass. So I'm going to have to go and pick it up and finish it because I think right now I need that too. As we head into the winter, I need some uplifting.
Yeah. And the book is yellow, like the sun. Yeah. So there you go. It'd be a good winter book.
Perfect. Nice. Okay. And so our last question here is about community and building an entrepreneur community. So how have you built an entrepreneur community around you and what has that meant to you?
Great question. So several of the entrepreneurs who are in my circle are people who went through the same life coaching certification program with me. And I also have some personal trainers who are in my circle because I was a personal trainer for a long time. So I find that I love having people who kind of know my world and kind of understand what it's like to market and sell the products and services that we sell. But I also have been really enjoying lately coming onto podcasts and meeting people who do totally different things from me and hearing about their journeys, because just like I always talk about with my clients, you could be 28 or you could be 68 and you could be having the same insecurities and the same problems and the same issues. I think that it's the same with entrepreneurs. We all have kind of this special sauce, right, that makes us not want to work for anyone else and we want to work for ourselves. And so I think we all have that kind of connectivity that we can learn from each other no matter what area of business we're in. So Facebook groups, podcasts, and the people that I've met through my programs are the way that I've built my community mostly.
Love it. And that's really kind of it's a gift that you have people from your industry who might be perceived as competitors, but you guys are willing to collaborate and support.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are nervous about reaching out to other people who might be competitors, but I always say, it's worth asking and you can learn so much from each other. And there's enough space out there and you each have your own secret sauce it is as you coach. And so you're not necessarily direct competitors because you're going to have a different target market, different people who will be drawn to you, but similar business model. So I love that. All right. Well, Sally, that's our podcast today. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It was fun talking to you.
This podcast is brought to you by Climb the Small Business Book Club, where entrepreneurs go to learn, discuss, apply, and grow. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe at Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or follow us on Instagram at Climb Book Club. And always remember, mistakes are inevitable, perfection's impossible. So let's embrace the mistake.